So first of all, the people crossing by small boat obviously are not departing from a war zone. They're leaving France. Now, and they've very often travelled through not just France, but also... Please let me finish the point.
Because we don't have enough time. But you know they have every right to come here. They don't have to stop at the first country. We know that is not true. They have every right to here. We have a long history of refugees coming to this country. We would never have any coming here if we said stop at your first country. Everyone's got a neighbouring country.
We will... Listen,
we would never have any refugees here.
Good. We don't need or want any more coming here from third world war zones. And what about the rights of all the victims of illegal immigrants? Nobody ever talks about them. I'm sick to death of the narrative that our tiny little island belongs to the entire world, that anyone and everyone has some sort of God-given right to move here. That is the worldview of the establishment, and they are now forcing it on the British people against their will. And not only that, when they get here, they go straight to the top of the queue for housing, healthcare, and everything else. They've literally created a situation in this country where the British people are having to compete with the entire world for their own limited resources. The British people have understandably had enough. It's starting to feel like we are being replaced, even in my local area now. And I'm not against all immigration and refugees. There's a Ukrainian mother and daughter and a couple from Hong Kong living on my street. They seem like nice people and they say hi as they walk past my garden. Plus, they all work. That is not what I'm concerned about. What I'm concerned about is recently I'm hearing more and more different African dialects and seeing more and more people in tribal and Islamic clothing. It's far too many, far too soon, and I'm uncomfortable with it. Seems there's a new family moving in every other week, and they're families of 8 or 9, not 2 or 3. It's almost like they've brought the full tribal on, all at the taxpayer's expense, of course. At this rate, how long before there's a mosque in the field behind my house? If the refugees welcome lunatics want them here so much, they can house them. Take a listen.
So while, yes, you're right, £700 million is a lot of money, if by spending that you stop the crossings and thereby save billions and billions of pounds a year, that is obviously worth doing.
But you forget that the High Courts and the Supreme Courts, they've said it was an unsafe country. Are we really going to say that we're going to actually say, well, asylum seekers who may well be, and a lot of them are genuine, we know, and we've got to start telling these facts that 70 to 80% of them are genuine asylum seekers leaving war-torn countries. Are we seriously saying, as a country of Britain, our British values are that we would send them to a country that is unsafe, where we know they shot down refugees in the street in that country who were begging for food? So we would say, as Britain, we'll send you there?
Well, again, a few points to answer. So first of all, the people crossing by small boat obviously are not departing from a war zone. They're leaving France. Now, and they've very often travelled through not just France, but also... Let me finish the point.
Because we don't have enough time. But you know they have every right to come here. They don't have to stop at the first country. We know that is not true. They have every right to here. We have a long history of refugees coming to this country. We would never have any coming here if we said stop at your first country. Everyone's got a neighbouring country.
We will... Listen,
we would never have any refugees here.
These are mostly young men who could easily claim asylum in France. Of course, we have moral obligations.
They can speak English.
But we meet
Some
those,
of them work with our Afghanistan military, Mr. Phil.
Okay,
Some of them work with Afghanistan, and they were left there. And we've seen now with the MI6 situation that their lives have been further exposed. So don't we have a duty to look after these people?
Yeah, we do, and we have brought over directly 25,000, I think, or even more than that, Afghans who worked with British forces. We have discharged that moral obligation. We've welcomed 200 and something thousand Ukrainians, a couple of 100,000 people from Hong Kong.
We put on a separate scheme for Ukrainians. I'm glad you mentioned the Ukrainians. We put on a specific system and scheme. They could go to the next country next to them, Poland, and get a visa and come here. We're not offering that the same to Afghanistan or Syria or Iraq or any of these countries.
Well, let me correct you. Actually, we did offer a scheme like that to people in Syria during the civil war.
It was nowhere near as big as 200,000, and we didn't ask the people of Britain to budge up and open up a spare room for them and pay them to do it, did we?
So where there are genuine crises including Syria, you were wrong a minute ago to say we didn't welcome Syrians, including Syria, we set up bespoke routes. You've also got routes like refugee family reunion. We should be able, the British Parliament and the elected government should be able to decide who we would like to prioritise. And we chose to prioritise people involved in the Syrian civil war.
Can we go back to my question? Do you think it's okay to send them to an unsafe country where refugees have been shot by the Rwandan officials, have shot refugees in the street who are begging for food? Are you saying that Britain is happy sending people to a country like that?
Well, it's not just the British Parliament that was happy with that. The UNHCR did as well. The UNHCR themselves, the United Nations High Commission for Refugees, sends refugees themselves from places like Libya to Rwanda. So if the UNHCR considers it safe and suitable, I think it's reasonable that we do as well. The court's concern, let me finish the point, the court's concern that you referred to was specifically about the risk that somebody would get sent from Rwanda to their country of origin, which might not be safe. That was the court's concern. And that's why the last government entered into a treaty, got binding commitments from the Rwandan government. They wouldn't do that. And we passed a bill through Parliament in order to overcome and deal with the concerns the court raised. But the point is Labour cancelled that scheme just days before it was due to start. And as a result, illegal immigration over the Channel from France, and France is a safe country, illegal immigration has surged to record ever levels under this Labour government. They've got a migration crisis, which is of their own creation, and that is why we then have these problems with hotels and everything else.
And back to the situation now with that hotel. You are saying that migrants shouldn't be housed in hotels, they shouldn't be housed in houses of multiple occupancy or houses that are needed for social housing. What is the solution then? Because we know with the barge, Bibi Stockholm, there were issues, there were health issues. We also know with things like the military bases, there have also been health issues, legal challenges over that. They end up costing more than hotels. So where do you propose that these migrants are rehoused to?
Yeah, well, I'll just point out firstly that the last government did reduce the number of hotels by 200 in the space of just 9 months. But unfortunately, under the Labour government, that trend has not continued. The real point is to stop the crossings in the first place, as I've described how you can do that by removing people who arrive here.
So where should these migrants go that are moved out of this hotel? Because potentially it's not just these ones at the Bell Hotel, is it? You were urging Conservative councils to then threaten legal action over more hotels. So we could see many, many more migrants needing to be rehoused at short notice. Where do you propose they go?
So the numbers coming out of the Epping Hotel look like it's about 150. There are some other options. I mean, there's the barge you've mentioned. So the barge was ordinarily used to accommodate, I think it was oil and gas workers. So it can equally be used to accommodate asylum seekers.
Closed down because of health issues, wasn't it?
Well, no, actually, there were some water supply issues at the beginning which got fixed. Labour then chose to shut the barge down about a year ago.
But no, it was seen as being inhumane, and some of the people on that boat suffered serious issues. Really, you know, I think, and it was a despicable scene.
I'm sorry, I don't accept your claim it was inhumane. I've already just explained.
It's not my claim. It's others that have referred to it as that.
Okay,
it's
fine.
Not my
well,
claim.
look, those barges are ordinarily used to accommodate like oil and gas workers and construction workers.
Okay.
So given that workers are accommodated there ordinarily, then claim somehow it's inhumane to have illegal immigrants claiming asylum there, I think is frankly a ridiculous thing to say. There are also options with military sites you've mentioned, the Napier Barracks in Folkestone being an example of that, and other countries around Europe have used prefabricated modular accommodation as well.
A lot of those
so
places
lots of different options
will also be open to legal action. But Chris,